episode of the Core Rock, and today we're going to see how to add animations to our web page using only CSS. So let's get started. Now there's a way to add animations to our web page using only CSS, and we use a property called animation for that. Now what animation does is basically changes the element from one style to another gradually using taking some time. So this feels like an animated motion. Now to use animations, first we need to specify keyframes, and keyframe is an important aspect in animation as it defines the starting and ending point of the animations. So let's try it in our page. Now let's open Visual Studio Code first, and then we'll see how to do that. Now this is my index file, so this is how it looks like in the beginning, so there's nothing in it. Let's add a division first, which we're going to animate. So let's add a division. And we're not going to include anything here, just add a class of anim1 because this is going to be the first animated division we're going to make. Now we want to style this division first, so let's add anim here, and we're going to set a height of 100 pixels and then a width of 100 pixels again. Now the third thing we want to do is we want to set a padding for it. So when we add some content, it does not appear on the border itself. So it is some padding between it. And the padding is going to be 10 pixels again. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to add a border radius, just a slight curvature, and the border radius is going to be 4 pixels. Or let's make it 5 pixels, doesn't matter. And then we'll set a background color for it because if we don't have a different background, we can't differentiate between the two. So let's add a background of CCC. It's going to be like gray. Now let's go live and see it in action. What are we doing now? Okay, so this is the output we'll get when we style these according to what I've done, and you can use any other style you want. Now this was the styling part, and now we'll move on to add the keyframes part. So the keyframes basically defines what type of animation you want to use. So what is the name of the animation going to be? Now after keyframes, we need to define the name of the animation. So for this one, going to say anim1 again. The anim1 is now going to be name of the animation. Don't be confused with the class anim1 because these are two different things. We're going to use this anim1 animation in our class of anim1. So let's add some keyframes now. Now keyframes basically can be defined in two ways. The first one is from to, and second one is in percentages. So for the beginning, we're going to start with the from to thing. So let's start with from, and from is the starting point of animation. Now from have a background color of hash CCC. This is the initial part. So from background CCC and margin left 0 pixels. Two, we want it to go to background of, let's make it 999, which is dark gray, and background 999, and margin left of 100 pixels. Now we'll go back to our style tag in anim1, and here we'll add our animation property. And animation property, the first attribute is going to be the name of the animation. So we'll write anim1 here, the name of the keyframes we said before, and then we have to write how much duration should the animation go on for. So we'll write 2 seconds. Now we hit save, and you can see the animation in action now. This is just a basic animation in which we are moving our element from left to right in 100 pixels. Now what we want to do is we want to add a few more properties. So third property in this animation is function, or the type of animation you want. You can add linear animation, you can add ease animation, and easy out, and much more. So we'll add a linear animation here because by default it's ease only. So we'll add a linear animation now, and after that we're going to add a delay. So delay is basically after how much time you want the animation to run. So we'll set an animation delay of 1 second, and after that we can set how many times you want the animation to run. So for now it's running 1 time. Let's make it run 2 times. And after this, we have to set a direction. So direction can be forwards, backwards, or alternate. Forward means moving forward, backward means moving backwards, and alternate means switching between the two. So we'll set it to alternate. There we go. And now you can see the animation goes to and fro because the alternate direction. Now you can increase this count to whatever you want. You can set it to 100 if you want, and you can set it to 0 if you don't want animation to run at all, or you can set it to infinite if it is an infinite option also, because you don't want an animation to stop. So this was basic animation, how to do basic animation in an division. Now we'll make a button and we'll try to do some animation using the percentage property instead of from and to. So let's just add a few breaks here, and after this we want to add a button. So button will have class of animation, and we'll write some text. This is an animated button. There we have our text here. So in the style tag, now we'll start styling our button, and we have our class dot anim button already defined. So let's use that only, anim button. Now again we're going to set a padding for it. Let's add a padding of 10 pixels. Let's remove the border. Let's change the background to something else, or actually let's the background be that only, and we'll set the font weight to bold. So 600 is bold enough. There's an animator button. You can see that now. So this is the default style which a button will have. Now we want to animate it, so we'll add one more keyframe here, and we need to add an array before that. So add the date keyframes of, let's say this keyframe as BTN animation, and BTN animation will use 0%, which is going to be initial. So for starter, we'll just change the background color to something else. So let's change the background to #999. And after that, we'll change the font color also to just a little bit of more or lighter shade of this one. So font color is just going to be color, and color is going to be 222 #222 obviously. And this is going to be our starting point. So our animation is going to start from this, and let's add 100%, and 100% will just copy these two styles and paste it here, and we'll change the value. So let's change the value altogether to something like red, and the background and the color to white. There we go. Now we have our keyframe set. Now you want to go to anim button class and add this animation. So animation of name BTN animation. There's the name of a keyframe. After that, I want this animation to run for 4 seconds. It needs to run in linear fashion, and it's need to be an infinite count here. So let's say you can see the change in property gradually in this animation we have done. Now this is same as the previous animation. We were moving from left to right. We were using just two styles, 2 points. Now we are using percent here. The reason we use percent is that we can add as many percentages as you want, and we can make as many breakpoints you want. Instead of from and to, we only have 2 breakpoints. You can have infinite number of them, or actually 100 number of them, if you want to do that much of hard work. So we're just going to add 2 breakpoints here. We'll add 33% minus 66%. So let's do that. 33% one is going to be here. Now what we're going to do is we'll not be changing the background because the background is already being changed. So what we'll do is we'll again change scale it. So we're going to as a transform property here, and you're going to scale it up. So scale is 1.0 for all the elements by default. If you increase the scale above 1, it's going to increase the size of the element, and if you decrease it below 1, and if you decrease it below 1, it's going to resize the image to a smaller counterpart. So let's add a scale of 1.05. So this one is going to enlarge the image. So you can see this in action 1.5. We want this to be 1.1. Now I can see that after it gets its same size, it slows down, the animation slows down. It's because we want this to reach the scale of 1.1 just after 33% of the animation has been done. Now we want to change this to different value later, but for now, let's add one more breaking point here. It's going to be 66%, and we'll set its margin left to 200 pixels. So you can see now that this is some really weird animation going on here. And also let's add a margin so it is going to move the animation downwards. So let's add a margin down of 100 pixels. You can see this is a animation. So now this was the second kind of animation. You can use the breakpoints one. Now let's use these animations to make a spinner. So to make a spinner, let's give a break first. And after that, we'll add a division again, a class, let's say spin. It should be enough. And we have this class already here. So let's get back to our style tag. Here we add dot spin. Now we'll again set its width and height. So width is going to be 100 pixels. This is for ease of use and not just any specific value. So 100 pixels again. Now you want a border for this. So border of let's say 5 pixels solid and a color of let's add a blue border for this one. So this is a blue border and it's not actually looking good. So let's change it a bit. I think this border is looking good now. So let's add border radius here. So we'll add border radius of let's say 100%. We want this to be circular in nature. Now the thing is that we want border just on the top part of this division. So let's add border top here. Now you can see what's happening here, right? Now what we want to do is we want to add keyframe for this animation. So let's first add animation property, and our animation name is going to be spinner, not sauna, spinner, and it's going to run for 5 seconds at max. Now let's add keyframe for animation spinner. So add the keyframes of spinner, and it's going to go from let's say it's originally a transform rotate 0 degrees to transform rotate 360 degrees. So now can you see the division spinning there? Now this is our basic spinner, and you can see that the division is also moving up and down, and that's because of the button animation. So we're going to change this animation from here. Now we'll add position absolute, and then we're going to add top of 400 pixels. Now you can see this spinning animation, right? This was the basic one. You can do minimum. So now I can see the spinning animation. So let's add a few more attributes here. I want this to be linear in motion. I want this to run infinite time. Let's hit save, and now I can see that our spinner is spinning infinite time. So let's decrease this value to 500 milliseconds. You can see the spinner and doing some real action. So this is how you can add a spinner using animation property in CSS, and these are the 3 types of animation you can do. So you can make a form and 2 breakpoint. You can add as many breakpoints you want using percentages, and you can make some really interactive elements or really animated elements like a spinner using this animation property. So that's it for today, guys. Thumbs up if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel if you loved it. I'll see you on the next episode of the Code Drop. Bye for now.